Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings. Let's get straight to it. All right, so today, this is going to be part 3 of Are the Jewish people the Israelites of the Bible? And the answer to that question is absolutely not. But we got to prove it. We got to prove it because we don't want to be just like them, because they just say things and they don't prove it. They don't give any historical evidence, any biblical evidence, which is the most important evidence. But they don't do none of that. They just say it and expect you to just run with it. You notice that, like, when they make the quote unquote anti-Semitic claims, they just say it. They don't have to prove it or nothing. They just say, oh, that was anti-Semitic and you got to apologize for it. They don't say how it is or really break that down. They just say it is. So we don't want to be like that. Obviously, we have scriptures that, say this explicitly, but, we want to take a little deeper dive into it so we really can divide the word of truth. So enough of that, man. Let's get in there. Let's get in here. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 21.
This is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 21. Prove all things, hold fast that which is good.
This word is good. We're trying to hold fast to it. And to hold fast to it, we got to prove all things. All right. And rightly divide the word of truth, like I just said. And I just say things, man. All right. So let's get the book of Titus, chapter 1. And let's start at verse 13.
This is the book of Titus, chapter 1 and verse 13. This witness is true. Wherefore rebuke them sharply, that they may be sound in the faith.
Verse 14.
Verse 14, not giving heed to Jewish fables and commandments of men that turn from the truth.
Ain't that speaking directly to what we've been going over? We've been reading nothing but Jewish fables, the Talmud, the Mishnah, a bar mitzvah. All right, all these things are quote unquote Jewish fables, commandments of men, things they just made up. Okay, things they just literally made up that you can't find nowhere in the scriptures, but they want you to believe that they are the true children of Israel. All right, but the Bible is not even their primary source of, their quote unquote belief system of Judaism. Is really based in the Talmud. All right, so, how does that make sense? The Talmud was made by men. All right, quote unquote Judaism was created by men after the Babylonian captivity. Okay, so that's commandments of men. And we all know we're not supposed to be a part of the world, all right, and taking commandments from men and then rolling with it. That's idolatry. But speaking of, let's go straight into it though. Let's talk about the history of Israel, as this page says. Now, let's start here. We about to prove 100% that the people that call themselves Jewish today are not the Israelites of the Bible for numerous reasons. We've already been doing that, but we're about to get more on it. Baba Kashak, could you read the paragraph that's highlighted?
So this is the history of Israel, Wikipedia. It reads, Israel, also known as the Holy Land or Palestine, is the birthplace of the Jewish people.
No, it's not. That's a lie. Let's keep going.
The place where the final form of the Hebrew Bible is thought to have been compiled in the birthplace of Judaism and Christianity.
I should just have you break this down. My bad. But so the birthplace of Judaism and Christianity, where is that in the Bible? To make a claim like this and you can't even get one sentence right, it's an abomination. One thing that I wanted to go over on this lesson about the Holy Land is that it was just recently founded. I remember when I first came into this knowledge that I didn't even realize that Israel had not been around that long. Just May 14, 1948, the so-called state of Israel. So when I talk about Israel, the country today is nothing like, what the Most High has in the kingdom. So if I talk down Israel, I'm talking about current day Israel, not Israel in its actual glory. But it says right here, at midnight on May 14, 1948, the provisional government of Israel proclaimed a new state of Israel. On that same day, United States, in the person of President Truman, recognized the provisional Jewish government as the de facto authority of the Jewish state. And we have to understand is these people have inhabited this land, and let's put in de facto, because it said de facto. It says, in fact or in effect, whether by rights or not. Whether by right or not, these people have inherited this land, and it says the juror, just on legalities. It has nothing to do with scripture. It has nothing to do with them actually belonging to that land. Nothing at all. It says, because remember, we just read that they inhabited the land by de jure. So it says in law, in government, de jure describes practices that are legally recognized, regardless of whether the practice exists in reality. Sounds like these people that's in the land. So basically what they tell you is they don't have to be rightful owners of the land. They don't have to be Israelites of the Bible. All right. It's just all law and government, legally recognized as the children of Israel, legally recognized. Not that it exists in reality, because it doesn't. Okay. So you can't
Man, I like that, but I also like this definition right here. It says an adverb according to rightful entitlement or claim, meaning they just have claimed this land as theirs.
Absolutely, King. That's all what's going on. According to rightful entitlement or claim, they just claimed it. Anybody can just claim something. If you got the money, the pool, and the power, you can just claim anything and say it's yours. It doesn't have to be based in reality. It doesn't have to be based in scripture, in history. You understand what I'm going here? Like that's what these people have done. Okay. And everybody around the world has accepted this to be truth. They don't check behind it. They don't ask any questions. All right. They don't pull the history. They don't pull the scriptures. They just roll with it. And who that's most harmful to is our people, because that's supposed to be our land. That's supposed to be our heritage. But, we here in this land, at least a lot of us are here in this land, and we're not asking any questions. And when you don't have your heritage, you don't know where you're going. You don't know where you came from. And when you don't know where you're going, you don't know where you came from, you have nothing. You have no future. Okay, that's how that works. That's why our people are in the condition that we're in today. Okay. I don't even think I need nothing else from this for real. We really got the point. I just wanted to show y'all that, they just capping, man. That's what it come down to. Like the young kids say today, it's just a bunch of cap. You have to understand that even on a large scale, these things happen. Lies happen on a large scale. Okay. I think I said this like in part 2, that as long as enough people believe something is true, it's all good. It doesn't matter if it's actually true or not. You understand? So don't be confounded. Just because, a billion people believe this to be true, don't be confounded. It doesn't mean that it's actually true. That's not how it works. It's not how it works at all. I know that, you can look at something like this, but I mean, when somebody says something about that, no, that's not how it works. And Most High set this up, it's auto fulfilled prophecy. And that's what we're going to read, right here in this scripture here, or in this chapter here. Let's get Ezekiel chapter 7, verse 1 through 2 for now.
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 7, starting at the top. Moreover, the word of the Most High came unto me, saying, also thou, son of man, saith the Lord God unto the land of Israel, and the end is come upon the four corners of the land.
So an end is coming. Okay. So why are these people going to this land acting like this was prophecy being fulfilled, at least in their favor? Because it is prophecy being fulfilled, but not that they're the children of Israel returning. but that Esau, Edom is returning to the land. All right. As a punishment to us for not keeping the statute, laws, and commandments. Okay, let's get verse 3.
Verse 3. Now is the end come upon thee, and I will send mine anger upon thee, and will judge thee according to thy ways, and will recompense upon thee all thine abominations.
That's exactly what's going on now. Okay. In the land. And remember, this is about the land. All right. By the way, so it says, thus saith the Lord God into the land of Israel. Okay, so this is going on right now today. It's prophecy being fulfilled. Now let's start verse 23.
Verse 23. Make a chain, for the land is full of bloody crimes, and the city is full of violence.
When you think that's going on? That's going on right now. Okay. That's exactly what's happening in the land right now. Okay, let's get verse 24.
Verse 24. Wherefore I will bring the worst of the heathen, and they shall possess their houses. I will also make the pomp of the strong to cease, and their holy places shall be defiled.
So the pomp of the strong to cease, that's our people. We have ceased. You understand? We've lost rulership. We lost our heritage. Okay, we lost our power because our power lies in our connection to the Most High. Without our people having a connection to the Most High, we're nothing. You know, we're supposed to be a strong and mighty and, a people full of warriors, rulers, conquerors, but without our power, we're nothing. Now, what I want to focus on here is it says, wherefore we're bringing the worst of the heathen. Remember, we still talking about the land. The Most High said he's going to bring the worst of the heathen inside of the land of Israel. Who is the worst of the heathen? Who is the worst of the heathen? According to scripture, let's get Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 16.
So this is the book of Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16. It reads, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who is for one morsel of meat sold his birthright.
Oh, unless there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, didn't we just read that the Most High said he's going to take the worst of the heathen into the land? And it says right here, less, so there's not any, if you look at the definition there for less, it's basically saying there is no other person that's more of a profane or more of a fornicator than Esau, who sold his birthright for one morsel of meat. That's all it took for him, man. That's how carnal he is. Matter of fact, that's what the Most High is portraying with the twins, Jacob and Esau. One man is a carnal man, one man is a spiritual man. Okay, it's plain. Let's get verse 17.
Verse 17. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears.
The worst of the heathen. Okay, there's other heathens, but this is the worst of the heathen. And that's to the Most High say he was going to bring it to the land. It's clear. We really can end there because that's that's plain, man. But we're gonna get more. Let's get Malachi chapter 1 and verse 3.
This is Malachi chapter 1 and verse 3. And I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness.
So, okay, let's get verse 2.
Verse 2. I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord, yet I have loved Jacob.
So the Most High said he loved Jacob. This was the word into Israel by Malachi. He said he loved Israel. Jacob, Esau is Jacob's brother. He loved Jacob. What do you say about Esau again?
Verse 3, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness.
The worst of the heathen.
Come on.
The worst of the heathen. Lay his mountains and his heritage waste. Okay, don't let the church tell you that the Most High, or who the world calls God, that he loves everybody. He doesn't. It's right here in the Bible. This is the KJV version. It's something you got on your phone, or it's at the house or something. We're not reading a Mormon Bible. This ain't, a different type of translation or something like that. It's right here in the Bible. You just didn't have it read to you. All right, that's all that is. Let's get verse 4.
Verse 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Most High of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people whom the Lord hath indignation forever.
You said into 1948?
Forever.
Oh, okay. So forever, the Most High will have indignation forever against the worst of the heathen, which is Esau, Edom, man. All right. Now let's prove this a little bit further. All right, because I made a claim here. I'm saying that the people that call themselves Jewish today are really who the Bible calls the Edomites or Esau or Edom or Idumians. That's the claim that I'm making. Okay, so let's get more on that. Let's get some more evidence here. Now, I've been talking about the Rothschilds a lot, not as much on this lesson, but I've been talking about a lot the first two lessons. And we brought this out before, but let's get this really quick because we're not even gonna go all the way into this. Let's just get the highlighted portion of Baba Kasha.
Khan. The Rothschilds are a pan-European Jewish family who take their name from the house of the 16th century ancestors, Zum Rothschild, at the sign of the Red Shield in Frankfurt's Jewish ghetto.
Yeah, so it says here at the sign of the Red Shield. So the Rothschild's name translates to Red Shield. When you understand how the world works, you know that something as monumental as a family name and a family crest, especially for a family like the Rothschilds, we know how they get down. All right, from a worldly standpoint, they're one of the most influential and quote unquote wealthiest families on our planet Earth. And their name translates to the Red Shield. Why did they pick the color red? Let's get Genesis chapter 25 and verse 25.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 25 and verse 25. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau.
The first came out what?
Red all over like a hairy garment.
And they call his name Esau. So, the Rothschilds know exactly who they are. Okay, when when you have an understanding of how these things work, you know that, colors, a lot of times they have symbolic meanings behind them. Okay, like in the scriptures, you see white being a color of purity, okay, free of sin, or like a white garment, Matter of fact, let's get some more on red. I don't want to get too far into that. Let's get more on red. So now this is observations concerning the increase of mankind, peopling of countries, etc., wrote by yours truly, Benjamin Franklin. The same Benjamin Franklin, former president of the United States, that used to live at 36 Craven Street, 36 Craven Street. Again, these things are not a coincidence, but they dug up his basement after he died, and this cat, man, he had a pit filled with human bones, including those of several infants. Okay, so, and he's a so-called founding father. These, this country, for those of our people that are quote unquote conservatives, or even if you're a quote unquote liberal, you're into politics, you have to understand, just like a house or anything else, if the foundation is rotten, the house is going to fall over. This country is built on Luciferian and demonic ideology, so it has no way that it's ever going to stand. Okay, and that's something you just got to hold. You got to accept that. So, get out of that, man. If you believe in this place, because your so-called founding fathers were pedophiles, all right, murderers, so on and so forth. And look, I'm not getting that from myself. That's just what the evidence says, okay? All right, this is known information here. So don't come at me say I'm quote unquote anti-Semitic or whatever the case. Just reading the data here. But anyways, now this is Ben Franklin. Let's see what he said. Let's see what Ben Franklin said. We're gonna try to get this as fast as possible and move on. Let's get at least this part highlighted, Baba Kashab.
Khan, line 24, which leads me to add one remark, that the number of purely white people in the world is proportionally very small. All Africa is black or tawny.
So tawny just means black. That's why he says black or tawny. Okay. And he says the number of purely white people in the world is proportionally very small. That's still true today. Okay. I think this was, what year was this written in? I can't remember off the top of my head. I think like 16 something. I could be way off. I believe it was something like that. I can look it up, but I might put it in the notes or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but just for the sake of time, he said Asia is chiefly tawny. Our people, we're aboriginal in all lands on planet Earth. That's why it says Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, Swedes, all what we call swarthy complexion, which means black. That's what swarthy means. You understand? That's why he said that. And the Germans also. That's why I don't like using the word European interchangeably with the so-called white man, because we're the original inhabitants of Europe. Now, of course, I mean, I say here and there, but I'm just saying in whole, you have to understand, and even if you say that like Europeans did this or that, that's just the current Europeans. But anyway, okay, let's get this last little part. Oh shoot, my bad, y'all. Okay, that was another article I had. I guess I had on the other one. Okay, let's see. Let's get really quick. Let's just get that real quick right there.
Khan, an opportunity by excluding all blacks and tawnies of increasing the lovely white and red.
The lovely white and red. What is he saying? Because remember, he's talking about so-called white people right now. Basically, what he's saying is that their numbers are dwindling. Okay, he's saying all these different places are filled with so-called black people. Okay, but what about the lovely white and red? Why did he say that? Because he knows what red means. He knows what that means from a biblical standpoint. Okay, he know red means Esau. He knows, or he knew that he was an Edomite. That's why he used the color red instead of just white. He said the lovely white and red. Okay, Most High don't say so. He said, y'all know worst of the heathen. All right, let's get Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 18.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 1 and verse 18. Come now and let us reason together, saith the Lord. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be white as snow. Though they be like red, like crimson, they shall be as wool.
So what we see here is that the color red or scarlet is likened to sin. That's why one of Esau's colors is red. Okay. And one of his animals that's symbolic for him is the goat, because the goat was used as a sacrifice for sin. It represents sin. Okay. Another one of his animals is a dog, because he got hair just like one. All right. And they love him. But you get my point here. Okay. So it's not a coincidence that the Rothschilds, their name is the red shield. We see Esau being named red. Okay. Red is the color of sin in the scriptures. Benjamin Franklin said the lovely white and red. It's all linking up. It makes too much sense, but you gotta accept it for what it is, man. You really gotta accept it for what it is and look past what the main narrative is, on planet Earth, and get down to the truth. That's if you want the truth, that is. All right. But Those people in the land right now, they imposters, they fakes. That's what I'm getting at. Let's get verse 25 back in Ezekiel chapter 7.
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 7 and verse 25. Destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace, and there shall be none.
Okay, so this is referring to the people in the land. Destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace, and there shall be none. Doesn't that sound like them today? Okay, when they first got into the land, they had a civil war. Remember, we saw that in 1948, Israel was first founded, and they had a civil war breakout. When I say civil, of course, that just means that you have a war with the same nation. It's a war with the same people that's inside of a country. Okay, so they got into a war with the so-called Arabs that were already living there. And no, I'm not saying that the Arabs, that's their land. They just happen to be living there. Heathens as well. But, this is the scriptures being proven. They gonna seek peace, but they shall be none. That's why they always get into wars and stuff. And I think in part 1, we talked about different wars that's wages, in Israel right now. Okay. So, it's not lining up. Where I'm getting at is when you look at the scriptures and what it talks about with the people that's living there, all right, it's not lining up with the people today that call themselves Jewish. That's where I'm getting at. All right, let's get Ezekiel chapter 36. Don't want anything before. Now we'll just get verse 5.
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 36 and verse 5. Therefore, thus saith the Most High, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, which with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey.
Okay, again, Idumea just means Esau or Edom. Okay, this is talking about the land again. Surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, the worst of the heathen, against all Idumea. That's the worst of the heathen. It's lining up with Ezekiel chapter 7. Okay, which have appointed my land into their possession. So Israel, all right, Jerusalem, has been appointed into Idumea or Edom. You see, it's lining up with real life, man. The scriptures are alive. Okay. Once you know how to, look at them and relate it to what's going on, you can see this is real life prophecy being played out. All right, with all the joy in their hearts, because they happy to be there right now. They proud of that land. All right, with their despiteful minds and to cast it out for a prey. Okay, just to get that real quick with Idumea, just in case you're not familiar with that word there. See, it's just Edom. Edom, red, Edom, Edomite, Idumian, descendants of Esau. All right, land of Edom, Idumea, land south and southeast of Palestine. Okay, that's all what's going on there, man. Now let's further prove this. Let's further prove it though. We got some more on it. Let's start right here. This is H.G. Wells. What's the name of this? I can't even remember the name of this piece he put together. But I'm gonna tell you the name. After you read that, you can just go ahead and grab that out. I'm gonna get this name real quick.
Khan. The beginnings, the rise, and the divisions of Christianity. On one occasion, the Idumians being conquered were all forcibly made Jews.
The Idumians being conquered were forcibly made Jews, meaning they took on the customs. All right, remember, it said in the land of Israel, that was the foundation of so-called Judaism. That's what this means. So to be an Israelite, to be a Jew, you have to have that blood running through your veins. It has to be through your seed line. Okay, you can't just be made a Jew. Like today in the church, they say spiritual Israel and things like that. There's no such thing. All right, you have to be spiritually aligned with the Most High and also physically aligned with the Most High. Okay, you can't just pop out and be a spiritual Indian. Now, when I say Indian, I'm referring to the land of India over there. Okay, that's not how that works. You can't be a spiritual Arab. All right, spiritual Chinese. Well, I'm spiritually, it don't add up, man. All right, let's get expand out just a little bit. All right, I'll just scroll. You can get the rest of that, Baba Shah.
Khan. There were Arab tribes who were Jews in the time of Muhammad, and a Turkish people who were mainly Jews in South Russia in the 9th century.
A Turkish people who were mainly Jews in South Russia in the 9th century. So that may sound a little like over the top right now, but let's make some sense here. So the same people, it says they were Arab tribes who were Jews in the time of Muhammad, and a Turkish people who were mainly Jews in South Russia in the 9th century. Let's see who these Turkish people were. I went over this in part 1. Let's get this right here.
Khan. The people of Turkish origin whose life and history are interwoven with the very beginnings of the history of the Jews of Russia.
It's lining up right now. It's the Kazars. We talked about that last time. So that's where the Jewish people come from. They try to act like it, they try to deny it, but it is what it is. That's where their people come from. Okay. And let's get the highlighted portion real quick.
Khan. Tradition according to which the Kazars once dealt near the Seir Mountains.
Okay, the Kazars dwelt near the Seir Mountains. What does the scripture say about Mount Seir? Let's get Genesis chapter 36 and verse 8.
This is the book of Genesis chapter 36 and verse 8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom.
Esau is Edom, okay? Jewish is Esau. Esau is Edom. Jewish is Edom, okay? They come from Mount Seir. You understand how this is all lining up here? All right, the people that were known as Kazars, they were forced into practicing so-called Judaism. All right, and they just changed their names essentially from what used to be known as Kazars to now being called today Jewish. Okay, but it doesn't mean from from an actual standpoint of being Israelites from sea line that they are, because they're not. That's what their history says. And this is written by a so-called white man, by the way. This is not the so-called white historian, H.G. Wells. So this is not something, let's get I never got let's see, this is H.G. Wells. Yeah, the Outline of History, that's right, by H.G. Wells. So he ain't got a horse in a race. This ain't written by, somebody trying to prove that the so-called Jewish are Israelites, anything like that. He a historian. He going through and chronicling exactly what he saw, man. And I have one more part I need to get out of here, I believe. Okay, let's get this right here.
Khan. The main part of Jewry never was in Judea and had never come out of Judea.
So he's saying the so-called Jewish were never in Judea, they were never in Israel, and never came out of Israel. You understand? This is somebody that don't have a horse in the race. Okay, he just telling the truth based on what he researched, based on what he saw. So their own people is attesting the same thing, man. All right, Esau is Edom. All right, and I believe I wanted to go back. Oh yeah, I wanted to go back to Slovakia. Oh, that's why it threw me off. Okay, Slovakia. Let's get Verse 6 back in Ezekiel chapter 36.
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 36 and verse 6. Prophesy therefore concerning the land of Israel, and say unto the mountains, and to the hills, and to the rivers, and to the valleys, thus saith the Most High Power, behold, I have spoken in my jealousy and in my fury, because ye have borne the shame of the heathen.
That's why our people in the condition that we in, the Most High had fury upon us for not keeping the statute, laws, and commandments. Okay, there is a punishment, there is repercussions for not following the order of the creator of everything in existence. You know, a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of our people, they're like, why would he punish us and this, and that? You do what he want to do. When you create everything in existence, that's what you do. You know, you do what you want to do. His order, that's what we have to go by. When you understand who you are, you know, you're nothing in the grand scale of things. All right. Even us, you know, in the grand scale of things, we don't measure up to the angels. We'll measure up to anything on a massive scale. You know, we're supposed to do what the Most High tell us to do. And if we don't, you know, the fury coming down on us, it's that simple. You get put to death, or, you know, whatever the Most High got for you. That's how it go down, man. Ain't nothing hard. It's nothing hard to understand. Let's get verse 8.
Verse 8. But ye, O mountains of Israel, ye shall shoot forth your branches and yield forth, and and yield your fruit to my people of Israel, for they are at hand to come.
So the children of Israel are at hand to come. You understand? The actual children of Israel that's supposed to be in the land, they are to come, not the ones that are there now. Okay, it's just a lie being played out to fulfill prophecy. Who are those to come? Let's pull a classic. We pull this in a minute. Let's get Hosea chapter 1 and verse 10.
This is the book of Hosea chapter 1 and verse 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power.
That's us. Okay. We are being told we're not the children of Israel. Matter of fact, when you say you are, you're going to be told that you're throwing out quote unquote racial slurs, anti-Semitic tropes. You are anti-Semitic, so on and so forth. So this is talking about you, so-called black man and woman that's scattered across the four corners of the earth. All right, in the Caribbeans, all right, some in Europe, in Asia, wherever we at, you know, especially in South America. All right, this is talking to you. This is talking about you. All right, ye are the sons of the living power. Okay, but not the so-called Jewish today, man. They're not being told that they're not his people, right? They're being told they are. So how would this measure up with them? Well, no, let's get verse 11.
Verse 11. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together, and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel.
Okay, so it says, and appoint themselves one head. We saw in part 1 that the so-called Jewish don't even believe in the Messiah. But let's see what the Messiah says about, you know, who the so-called Jewish people are today. Let's get Daniel chapter 9 and verse 25.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 9 and verse 25. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem until the Messiah, the prince shall be 7 weeks, and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous times.
So this could be its own breakdown. So we're not going to go too deep into this right now. All right. Let's get what we need from it, though. It says, know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem, this is after the Babylonian captivity, into the Messiah, the Prince. So look, man, for And I think this is going to be my lesson next week for those that don't believe in Yahushua. Man, look, it's in the scriptures whether you want to deal with it or not. You can make 10 different excuses and just pull stuff out of the hat if you want to, but who else is the Messiah, the Prince? Stop playing, man. Anyways. Actually, we don't need anything specifically out of verse 25 outside of we see that the Messiah has been mentioned here. Let's get verse 26.
Verse 26. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood. And until the end of the war, desolations are determined.
Okay, this is a prophecy about something that we see that played out, on planet Earth. Now it says that the Messiah, after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself, all right, for his people. This is talking about Yahushua, all right, how he got cut off, meaning he died. And the people of the prince that shall come destroy the city and the sanctuary, the end thereof shall be with a flood. Now we can get the precept on that, but the point is, it says, until the end of the war, desolations are determined. Let's see what the Messiah said about that. Let's get Matthew chapter 24 and verse 15.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24 and verse 15. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand.
Let's get verse 16.
Verse 16. Then let them which be in Judea flee unto the mountains.
Okay, so this is why I'm going into this. Now, what's going on here is that the prophet Daniel and Yahushua was warning the children of Israel about the abomination of desolation, about wars to come. This war is known in history as the Jewish-Roman War, and also more specifically here, the siege of Jerusalem. So that's why Yahushua said, and in Luke chapter 21 and 20, matter of fact, we'll get that in a second, but that's why he said, Daniel said that, and the people of the prince that shall come destroy the city and the sanctuary, all right, it's talking about the armies that will come, okay? The abomination of desolation, meaning when our temple got destroyed in Jerusalem, all right, it was going to the siege of Jerusalem. Now remember, Yahushua, he was already gone from planet Earth at this time, 70 CE, which means year 70, we're in year 2022. So 70 CE just means literally 70, year 70. All right, so you had the siege of Jerusalem of 70 CE was the decisive event of the first Jewish-Roman War, in which the Roman army, led by future Emperor Titus, besieged Jerusalem, the center of Jewish rebel resistance in the Roman province of Judea. So here's why I'm going into this, not only because Yahushua is also giving us a hint of who the people are today. You notice that they do not talk about this in school. They do not talk about this in history at all. You always hear something about the Holocaust. You always hear about the Holocaust, but if these people are really the Israelites of the Bible, why do they not talk about such a monumentous event that happened in their so-called history? Okay, this was a major event for the Israelites. All right, when the Romans came and took over the land. All right, you had, according to Josephus, 1.1 million non-combatants died in Jerusalem. All right, and about 97,000 estimated were enslaved. So you have this many people killed. All right, you have your temple destroyed. You getting kicked off the land where you have to flee and scatter. All right, where prophecy was fulfilled with us being scattered across all nations. Why would you not talk about this? You understand? And furthermore, since you don't deal with the so-called New Testament, how did you even know what to do anyways? All right, it says, then let them be in Judea, flee the mountains. That's how they knew to scatter from Jerusalem once the Roman armies came. But how did they even know? They don't read the New Testament. You see what I'm saying? Let's get Luke chapter 21 and verse 20 and 21.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 21 and verse 20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto.
Okay, so this was Yahweh telling us that a war was coming. Okay, not too far after he left Earth. Okay, probably less than 40 years or so, this war happened. The Romans took over Jerusalem. Okay, Yahweh said to flee into the mountains. Where were the mountains? All right. Oh, and by the way, also you have prophecy being fulfilled. It got so bad to where you had a lot of our people, they actually had to, I regret saying this, but our people actually had to eat their own children, all right, because of the famine that occurred at that time. And why am I bringing that up? Because again, the point here to me is, why do these people not talk about this event since it was so important in Israelite history? Why are they always talking about the Holocaust? They should be breaking down all of their history, but all they got is a Holocaust for you. You say something quote unquote anti-Semitic, next thing you know, you had a Holocaust museum somewhere by some old nasty rabbi, so-called, trying to break down some fake history. Why don't talk about the siege of Jerusalem though? The temple got destroyed. All right, the menorah got taken. It's probably on here somewhere. Yeah, the menorah got taken, man. Like the Romans came and wrecked shop. That was a turning point in Israelite history, because that's where, we never returned from the land from there. But that should be big to them if that was really their history, but it's not. Okay. Now, speaking of being scattered, let's go into some more history here. It says Jews inhabited both sides of the Niger, or even in translation in Latin, Niger River. Okay. Let's just get this part highlighted about the Shah.
Many Jews also are scattered over this region. Some natives, boasting themselves of Abraham's seed, inhabiting both sides of the river Niger, the Niger River. Others are Asian strangers who fled thither either from the desolation of Jerusalem by Vespasian or from Judea wasted and depopulated by the Romans, Persians, Saracens, and Christians.
So here's the point. So our people fled into Africa. If you're ever wondering how a bulk of our people got into Africa, here is your answer. Okay, I know that's something that a lot of our people don't really understand, and something I had a big question about, when I first understood who I was according to scripture. Like, man, how did we even get into Africa? This is how. Okay. And there's plenty of evidence to prove that. Okay, so when you had the Romans come, I'm trying to make this as simple as possible if you're not into like history and things like that, so you can kind of see what's going on here. Essentially, just view it as you have like we're here in America, you have the Romans, they come, take over your land and make you leave. Now you got to migrate over to Egypt, Yemen, Ethiopia, South Africa, and then in West Africa. And from West Africa, that's how we got to North America, the Caribbean, South America, all the countries, I mentioned earlier, the even continents I mentioned earlier. Okay, that's how we got to these places, which proves that we are the children of Israel. Okay, and now why would we go to Egypt and places like that? Because that's one of the best places to blend in at, because all of our people, our people look similar to those people that's in Africa. All right, you know the so-called Africans are not so-called black, but they have darker skin or a browner skin, I should say. Okay, and so do we. We're the same people. And when I say same people, not us and Egyptians, but I'm talking about the people that fled out of Israel after the siege of Jerusalem. We're the same people today. Let's get Acts chapter 21, and let's get straight to it, time's sake, verse 38.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 21 and verse 38. Art not thou that Egyptian, which before these days madest an uproar, and leddest out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers?
Okay, Paul got mistaken for an Egyptian. He had to come back and correct him. No, I'm a Jew of Tarsus. Okay, but as you see, it says, "Are thou not that Egyptian?" Why is that? Because our people look similar from a skin tone standpoint than the so-called Egyptians. Okay, now if you look at this definition here, and look, this is just one of the BibleStudyTools.com. This is not somebody with an agenda. They just telling real history here. For the word Ham, I mean the man Ham. All right, Ham. It says warm, hot, hence the south. Also an Egyptian word meaning black, the youngest son of Noah. Okay, so Noah's son Ham that populated the earth, at least mainly in Africa. His name means black, not black as a race, but he was dark skinned, what we call an African today, a so-called dark skinned African. Okay, that's why our people fled in Egypt, because you will blend in a lot better there than other places. But I want to get into that because I remember in part one I had a comment say something about so-called skin color when I hadn't even mentioned nothing about no skin color yet. It's showing your subconscious coming out, which to be true. But anyways, I'm about to talk about so-called skin color now. Let's get it. Let's get Song of Solomon chapter 1 and verse 5.
Big con. This is the book of Song of Solomon chapter 1 verse 5. I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon.
Why is Solomon saying I am black? Why is he saying that? So you can't get around this, man. King Solomon, was a so-called dark-skinned, so-called black man, what we see today. These are the tents of Kedar right here. You see what color they are? And again, I do want to make a distinction though. When he says I am black, he's not talking about what we know today as the race of black. He's talking about his skin color, okay? Because the Israelites are brown to, lighter brown to darker shades of brown people. It is what it is, okay? The people in Jerusalem right now, in Israel, they are not the Israelites of the Bible, okay? Not just because of their so-called skin color, but because of a sea line. But again, we're gonna talk about skin color because I can do both. I can talk about the sea line, I can talk about the skin color, I can talk about the history, like from all angles. They're not the people. But again, I want to talk about skin color now since that person want to get smart. So let's keep getting it. Let's get Acts chapter 13 and verse 1.
Bring it out. It's the book of Acts, chapter 13, verse 1. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called nigger. And the
Lord, exactly. For time's sake, I don't like cutting scriptures off, but for time's sake, I want to get a little bit more. So we're going to get right here. It says Simeon, or this is Peter, the apostle Peter, exactly who this is, just another name. It says Niger, or again, I think my sound is on. So let's see what this says here.
It's not on, King.
Okay, let's see. New share. And I hate this little sound. Always tripping. But you know what? Don't take my word for it. You got to hear it right here. Just go to the Blue Letter Bible, pull up Strong's G3526 in Acts 13:1, and you're going to hear the pronunciation as nigger, just like it says here, nigger. Okay, the word nigger, the so-called white man did not invent that. Okay, it just means black, not as a race, but as the color of your skin, which, by the way, is a characteristic of the Israelites. Your skin doesn't make you an Israelite. You're an Israelite, and that's an offshoot. Your skin color is a characteristic of you. Okay, it's the other way around, because there's a lot of people that have, brown skin, but it's all by seed line. Okay, so don't be basic, don't be simple, talking about, well, it's not skin color. I ain't say that, but that's a characteristic, that's part of it. We're not about to act like that. That's not. Okay. Let's get this. This sign here that was in Capitol Hill. All right. Matter of fact, I think we got just enough time. Let's get Free Blacks of Israel Hill.
Come on. This is the Free Blacks of Israel Hill. Just to the west lies Israel Hill, settled in 1810 through 1811 by approximately 90 formerly enslaved persons who received freedom and 350 acres from Judith Randolph under the will of her husband. Richard Randolph, cousin of Thomas Jefferson. These Israelites and other free African Americans worked as farmers, craftspeople, and Appomattox River boatmen.
So did you hear what the brother just said right there? What he just brought out? It says these Israelites, free blacks of Israel Hill, these Israelites and other free African Americans. So you see, and this was in the 1800s. What I want you to understand is that the media is going to tell you that so-called Black Hebrew Israelites, it's a new thing. It's a quote unquote movement. All right, it's a belief system. This is not anything new. Okay, what's new is that the so-called Jewish calling themselves Israelites. That's what's new. Okay, this is this been out. All right, this ain't nothing new. Our people been knowing who we were. We lose our heritage, when we don't keep the statute, laws, and commandments. But this is a real sign that was actually up. Understand? It's probably not there anymore. Probably ain't there no more. They don't want us to see this. All right, it's in Farmville, Prince Edward County, Virginia. But this was a sign that was up, man. All right, you see, this is on a road. This is real life. This ain't no game. This ain't me trying to pull something to fit my narrative, to fit what I want to be true. This is literally what it says. Okay, so it says the free blacks of Israel Hill, we're Israelites, so-called African Americans. That's really who you are. This is not a trend. This is not, something that people just talking about right now. It's the truth. Okay. It is what it is. I pulled this up. Khan, you have something, King?
Salaki and La'a.
Oh, Khan. Henry Kissinger, that makes a ton of he's made a ton of controversial statements. All right, let's see what he said real quick. Let's get that real quick.
Khan. The Igbos are the wandering Jews of West Africa, gifted, aggressive, westernized.
So Henry Kissinger said this. He said the Igbos are the wandering Jews of West Africa. You know the Igbos are, right? Nigerians. He said that they were Jews. Why I say, who do we see here? Who we would call so-called Black people. Henry Kissinger said that. Okay. Henry Kissinger. Was he the same? And I think that's why I had that pulled up. Did he say that the most dangerous thing is in America is Black unity? Did he say that? Henry Kissinger? So this cat, man. All right. So, it's several testimonies. He was so-called Jewish too, wasn't he? It's several testimonies, man. All right, it's real life. Let's get one more. This may be hard to read. I didn't even think about that until now. But I definitely want to get this testimony because this is an actual newspaper. 1897, educated African Jewish man is conceptually confusing Americans. So if you can read that.
Come
Okay.
I got you. At the top.
Negro
who can write Hebrew. He is deaf and dumb and comes from an African town.
I don't know about that, but let's keep going.
Hartford, Connecticut, September 19th, a young African Negro has been in this city for the last few days who claims to be a Hebrew. He is deaf and dumb and as black as the ace of spades.
So you see what's going on here? Now, that's how you know this is real. This is 1897. They call him deaf and dumb and, saying all this stuff. He claims to be Hebrew. Okay. An African Negro claims to be Hebrew. Again, this ain't nothing new. This ain't nothing that, people just start saying. So, because what the so-called white man normally thinks, the so-called Christian white man especially, they're just people trying to find their identity. No, it's been known. Okay, this is a real life newspaper. This ain't a game. History ain't a game, man. History ain't a game. Either something happened, or something didn't. It's just really that simple for real. When it come down to it, let's keep going.
He carries a pad of paper with him and answers all questions by writing them in Hebrew and Lashawan Kodash. What excites the most wonder is that he writes Lashawan Kodash very rapidly. It is the language of the books of Moses, and it is made a special study of, spoken and writes with ease only by the rabbis and highly educated Hebrews.
So they call him deaf and dumb, but he knows Hebrew, the Paleo Hebrew, the Lashawan Kodash, the Holy Tongue. That's what that means. Okay. Again, this is real life. I'm not going to add too much for the sake of time. Let's just keep going on this.
The Negro was sent to one of the rabbis of Hartford, who is perfectly satisfied that he is a Hebrew. He says that he came from a large town in Africa where there is a tribe of about 20,000 Black Hebrews who speaks Lashawan Kodash and are quite prosperous.
Salakia. So where he came from is what used to be known as Negro land. All right. Negro land, or the kingdom of Judah, or wider Judah. Right here you see. So this is where our people fled. Remember that war we just talked about? All right. And the word Guinea means black man, by the way, right there in Africa and the West Coast. So that's where our people were before we went into slavery. Okay. Where a bulk of our people went into slavery. Okay. So that's what this young man was talking about. That's how he knew Hebrew. All right. That's how he knew the Lashawan Kodash. Okay. Paleo Hebrew. And it said the books of Moses. And he identified as a Hebrew. He said he came from a town with more tribes. It wasn't just him. Okay. So again, this is real history, whether you want to deal with it or not. All right. This place is really called Wider, or just Judah. It's really called Negro land. All right. Right over there in the west coast of Africa. Okay. This is again, this is not anything I'm making up. It's not something I'm just pulling. This is like one of these weird type of websites where people just saying stuff. No, this is actual real history. You can look it all up yourself. Okay. Now, after, a certain time period of us being in Africa, we're going to see what happened then. Okay, let's get Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. We ain't brought this out yet, so let's get it.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Who does that fit? Does that fit the so-called Jewish man? When it says Egypt again, it's referring to this place here in America. Okay, these are one of the curses for not following the Most High statute, laws, and commandments. Okay, like we tell you all the time, if you haven't read this yet, you definitely need to read the whole chapter. Okay, if one of these verses in this chapter don't make sense to you, you can shoot us out an email, hit us up, ask questions or whatever the case is. But yeah, so it says consequences of disobedience. These are curses that our people face for basically not doing what the Most High told us to do, for not being obedient, which means keeping the statute, laws, and commandments. Okay. Now you even had a slave ship it says the slave ship Clotilda arrives in Alabama. So Clotilda was right there in Mobile, Alabama. Okay. And where did it say that it came from? It came from Judah or Judah. Okay, that's one of the tribes of Israel. Where does it say that at? I'm probably reading over it because we're getting down to time here, trying to go fast. But yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Con. So that's where that slave ship came from. You see how the Bible is in history is all lining up. Okay, this is a real ship. It really landed in Mobile, Alabama. Okay, and it really came from the kingdom of Judah, or that just means Judah. Okay, and our people were actually there, and we came from Jerusalem. All right, when you had this Roman Jewish war and the siege of Jerusalem. Okay, that's why our people fled into Africa, at least a bulk of our people, because all of our people, we've been scattered for a while, so it's not literally every single Israelite came from the west coast of Africa, but a good bulk of our people did. You understand? So it all lines up. Don't take my word for it. You can look this up. It's all there. It's all solid. Let's get Baruch chapter 3 and verse 8.
This is the book of Baruch, chapter 3 and verse 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power.
That's what I've been saying the whole time, because we departed from the Lord, he departed from us. Okay, we got scattered. All right, but we are the children of Israel. Okay, not the so-called Jewish today. Let them think that whatever they want to think, because when it comes down to it, the Most High going to show us who the real is. Okay. All right. And that's what happened. We got scattered. All right. For a reproach and a curse. Okay. But you read Galatians chapter 3, once you accept Hamashiach Yahushua, you're no longer under that curse. Okay. But our people, as in the massive standpoint, in the mass of our people, we are under the curses. Okay, because we do not keep the statute, laws, and commandments, and that's how we got to this point. All right, where we are right now. Now, the last thing that I want to leave with here is, again, this is not a trend. This is not something I'm saying to sound cool or to quote unquote identify myself and things of that nature. Okay, there's a great responsibility that comes with knowing that you're an Israelite. All right. We're not doing this for play and for a game and for show. Okay, let's get Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 5.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6 and verse 5. And thou shalt love the Lord thy power with all thine heart and with all thy soul and with all thy might.
That's what it's really all about. So I'm not here talking about this history. So, I can say, oh, we really the Israelites and just flaunt it. No, we got to keep the statute, laws, and commandments. Let's get verse number 2. And with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. Let's get verse 2.
Verse 2. that thou mightest fear the Lord thy power, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee, thou and thy son and thy son's sons, all the days of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged.
See, the so-called Old Testament is not done away with. That's why it says, thou, meaning you, and thy son, and your son, and your son's son, for all generations. We're supposed to keep the statute, laws, and commandments. You know, Christ even told us that the law is not done away with. He did not come to destroy the law. I know you've been told that in church, but that's not the case. Okay? He said that in Matthew chapter 5 and verse 17. And let's just end it here, man. Let's get Revelation chapter 22 and verse 14.
This is Revelation chapter 22 and verse 14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city.
Okay, so if you want the best, especially if you a man, a so-called black man, if you want the best for you and your family, then you're going to keep these statute, laws, and commandments so you have a right, at least, you know, you'll have a chance to the right of the tree of life, and you may enter into the gates into the city, meaning to the kingdom. That's what it's really about. You know, that's the essence of a man, is to be a provider, protector, and a leader. And how else more can you do that than putting you and your family in the best position possible by coming back to your God, keeping the statute, laws, and commandments, fearing the Most High, coming back into your heritage, man. That's what it's all about. All right, know your history, you know, study, pray, and fast, and improve every day. And Lord willing, you know, we'll have the gates into the city, into the kingdom, man. We won't have to worry about all this nonsense going on in this wicked world. But you know what? That's all I got right now. I bid everyone a mighty shalom.